welcome to another episode of MDS Not So Live. And this week we're meeting with Larry. Good afternoon, Larry. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. You're looking rather dapper, Larry. You're looking rather dappy, Larry, in your tie. What's the story there? Because I'm certainly not wearing a tie. That's not happening.
Typically, I don't wear a tie when you're working from home, but when I do have client calls, I like to at least put on a collared shirt and some kind of tie, just so that I can replicate my customer a little bit better. It kind of goes back to the old school mentality of dressing for your guests. So when I was in a hotel, we used to dress accordingly to what our customer base looked like. And in this job, I do have a customer base that happened to be a lot of general managers. So
fantastic.
You feel comfortable.
Very good.
I don't look like a slacker.
Or you could be like me and just wear a t-shirt. That could be the other one. So for those who don't know Larry, maybe can you give a little bit about what your role is on the team and your role at MDS?
Sure. So my name is Larry Casenti. Some people call me Lawrence. My email address is Lawrence. So a lot of people do call me Lawrence just because of that, but I typically go by Larry. I'm with Client Services, and I'm a digital consultant for hotels on the West Coast, Hawaii, and French Polynesia.
Very nice. Very nice part of the world.
Yeah, beautiful.
So, and you joined MDS a few weeks ago. So maybe could you go back a little bit in your past and talk through some of your past experiences and the different roles that you've had? And I know you've been at Marriott before, so maybe touch on that as well.
Yeah, so I've been with Marriott for 32 years, with the exception of last year when field marketing was annihilated. But I started in 1989 as a bellman at a Marriott golf resort, and from there I bounced around New York City for a long time, doing various jobs on property, including, let's see, I was manager on duty at the New York Marriott Marquis in Times Square. I was also a general manager of a Residence Inn out on Long Island. And it was there that I really found that my passion was in marketing. And I was working very hard as a general manager on the marketing efforts for my hotel when I realized that's probably the direction I have to go. And I joined field marketing about 15 years ago, where I stayed ever since. In field marketing, I've always been a task force field marketing manager. So I bounced around the country for probably about 10 years of my job. I bounced around the different markets and whatnot, supporting marketing needs for hotels. And it's been a lot of fun. So in this job, what's nice is that I did a lot of my bouncing around in my past jobs on the East Coast, because I live in New York and I also live in Florida. And now that I have West Coast, it's just fantastic. It's a lot of familiar faces, but not as familiar as my friends on the East Coast after 30 something years, you know? So I'm having a good time meeting new people.
You can bounce around Hawaii, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
I'm hoping to. Yeah. Aloha.
The other thing that struck me with you being at the company for 32 years is you're like a younger version of Mike Roach.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up. So when I was a general manager, Mike had just left being a general manager. So I've been one step behind him for 20 years. Right. So I've known Mike. I knew Mike when he was a general manager, and then I was a general manager, and then he was in digital. And then he was in field marketing with me back when we had 3 marketing managers coast to coast. He was mid and I was east. And that's so funny you brought him up. So and then he retires and I jump in. So
retirement on the card soon. Fantastic. So since joining MDS a few weeks ago, what sort of things have you been working on?
Well, I've been working on a lot of the tactics to understand what's best to be successful in this job. But I would say the majority of my day has been talking to my hotels so I can build relationships, establish rapport, trusting relationship. So I've been spending a lot of time on video and a lot of time on training calls and emails and such.
Fantastic.
Understanding paid media from a different perspective than field marketing. So.
Yeah. Okay, great. And then maybe looking forward now for the next sort of 3 to 6 months, what's on deck for Larry?
3 to 6 months, I would say really get my arms around this entire position and find process improvements that I can do to make my job easier, more seamless, quicker. I love technology, so just continuing to mess around with different tools that I can do to make my life easier and be more productive. I think that's a good, yeah.
Okay. So, so we're going to jump into a new thing for this sort of installment, which is a quick fire round, just to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So we're going to give you a couple of options, and then you just shout out the one that kind of resonates most with you. So we'll start with takeout or cooking at home.
Takeout.
Right. Football, and I must preface this with being American football, and being an Englishman, this is a completely different sport. So football or baseball?
The closest thing I get to sports is like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Cats. They'll leave me alone, and I'll leave them alone.
And they think they rule the house. That's the other thing.
Cool. Yeah.
Beer or wine?
Ooh, I'm actually sober, but I used to like both. I like beer and wine. I would say now on occasion, I would like a nice pina colada or something on the beach. But overall, I pretty much lead a sober life.
Fantastic. And then lastly, mountains or beach?
Oh, beach, 100%.
Well,
beach, yes.
Yeah. I mean, just before we started recording, you said that you had a house walking distance to the beach. So I think we knew the answer to that one.
Yeah, beach for sure.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us, Larry. And I'm sure that you're on Slack and email if anybody wants to contact you and ask any further questions.
Yeah, that would be great. On everything, it says Lawrence. So don't get confused if you type in Larry and don't find anybody.
Fantastic. All right.
All right.
Well, have a great rest of your day.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye.